It's $11,000 on that event.
That's awesome.
Net.
That's still gonna pee, my goodness. Just for you. Just for you. Shots fired, Ligbrigowski. Shots fired.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. So good to see you as we lead into the celebration of this country's 250th birthday. So good to be with you. And I am so pleased to be here today and to be with Amber and Chris Kula and Joseph Brace and Brian Snyder. Chula, I'm sorry. He'll yell at me later. It's great to be home in the great state of Florida. As you all know, I am from East Hillsborough County, so this is like coming home. It's a homecoming. One of the things I have realized since getting to the United States Senate, and I'm so honored that Governor DeSantis appointed me, having been your Attorney General, so honored that the President has supported me. One of the things I realized is we do a lot of great things for the people of this country to restore strength and stability and security. And sometimes we will do them in one act and they don't take place for a really long time. And so folks don't even know the things that are available to them now that were done purposefully for our working families. And so it has been one of my number one goals to make sure I am communicating throughout this year on how we are delivering for the working families throughout this nation, but specifically here in Florida, because Florida keeps coming out ahead in so many of these metrics. And I think it is great for our families to know about what they can take advantage of right now. And so as we are celebrating our independence this weekend, so many of these things go into effect. And so what a wonderful way to celebrate all that this nation is, all that it has given us and our families by recognizing so much that is out there now that our families can take advantage of. So as you know, one of the things I think is so important is that people that support us in Washington understand what we're doing to work on their behalf. That's all we are. We are simply your avatars. We are up there representing you. And so I went to Washington and said, look, I want to cut out all the bureaucracy so Americans believe that Washington isn't working for itself or isn't serving bureaucrats, that it's actually serving people. And I want to make sure that they know when they are handing over their hard-earned dollars, because we require them to pursuant to some sort of tax code, that they realize we are being good stewards of that money. And when we're pointing out this waste, fraud, and abuse that we're finding, and I'm so proud of everybody that's digging in and rolling up their sleeves and uncovering this, and you're seeing it day after day, that we're actually doing something about it to make sure it doesn't happen again, so that you trust when you hand over your hard-earned money that we are spending that wisely, because Washington can't even spend $1 until an American earns it. And so I want to make sure you know that is where my priority is. You are my priority. American families are my priority. And I am working every day in Washington to make sure that that is a reality. And so I'm so proud today as we move into the fourth to go over some of the important wins that we secured for you in the Working Families Tax Cut Act, which went into effect and was signed last year, but so many of those provisions are coming online this weekend as we celebrate the 4th. So many of you know already we're trying to keep more money in your pockets because we think you can decide how to best spend your money. It's obvious you can do that better than Washington. So we were very clear. We're going to stop taxing overtime. We're going to stop taxing tips. And we're going to stop taxing Social Security. So in a state like Florida, where there are a lot of families that are depending on overtime and tips, and a lot of seniors that are relying on Social Security, that is a huge win. And so it is no surprise that Florida is getting the largest tax refund on average for individuals and families than any other state in this nation. And that is a win for Florida. Now, like many of you here with me today, I am also working and raising a family. I still have a kid in school. I am still a mom trying to plan how to make everything work. And the Working Families Tax Cut Act really delivers on our working families. And I wanted to go into some of that because I don't know that that got communicated as well as it should. And I know many of you, like us, are trying to build a budget, and having some predictability on where your money's going to go and how we can save to better support our families is so important. So in addition to all of the ways we are saving taxes for working Americans and working Floridians, we've also decided we're gonna beef up our child tax credits. So in many instances, those that have children are seeing real relief. We have also beefed up the way we are allowing families in school choice to get support with resources and the money that they spend on education, from tutoring to technology to anything that's going to bolster their child's education. You can now get the benefit of that when you are recognizing your taxes. During the Working Families Tax Cut Act, we really doubled down on school choice. Now in Florida, you know, we're universal school choice, and because of that, our graduation rates have skyrocketed because we were willing to think outside the box and say we're going to support traditional education. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're never backing off supporting our traditional education. But if your child has unique educational needs, parents should be able to decide what's best for them and get help doing that with resources, regardless of what zip code they live in. And because of that, Florida is setting the standard around the nation for child success in K through 12 and in university education. We are number one. We are killing it. And it is because we think outside the box and we think through the lens of how are we putting our families and our kids first. Not how is this affecting stakeholders in Washington, not how this is affecting any other people that have a vested interest in education. We're putting kids and families and parents' choice first. And the Working Families Tax Cut Act double downs on that commitment and that mission. And it's even better for Florida because not only do we have the expanded school choice, universal school choice, the scholarships, the money that is available for school choice, we now have that supplemented by the Working Families Tax Cut Act. What else is happening this weekend in education? This is great news for everyone that wants to go and acquire a skill or trade. Now you can use Pell Grants for trade schools. This is huge for folks that want to get a skill. And it will make a huge difference in the state of Florida because we are bringing businesses back to Florida. We are ramping up manufacturing. We need skilled labor. And if you have a kid or a young adult that is wondering, where is my life headed? Where do I see myself in 10 years? I'm not sure. And there's a lot of that right now. I hear it from teenagers all the time. We have 2 young people in our family, and they're constantly talking about where do I see myself in 10 years? They need to understand that right now we're committed to making sure that we are focused on bringing building and manufacturing and innovation back to America and keeping it in this country. And in this state, in the state of Florida, we are meeting that commitment, and we're going to need all the skilled trade folks we can get. So I hope Americans know and Floridians know they can now seek Pell Grants for trade, skills, and certifications. That is huge news. I also want to talk about the newest investment for American families, never been done, a tremendous announcement. It goes online this weekend, and that is child investment accounts for every child born in America. Never happened. This is going to go a long way to strengthening and giving opportunity to all of the kids born in the state of Florida and in the United States. This weekend, those accounts go online, are going to be funded. Millions of Americans have taken advantage of this. If you open an investment account for your child, $1,000 for every baby born, they start this weekend. By the time they are of retirement age, that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars to support them. Some have estimated it could be close to $1 million. This could go to many things in their lives, from education to buying a home. I cannot tell you how far this will go to strengthening opportunity for everyone. Everyone, no matter where you're born, no matter what zip code you live in, every child is going to be eligible for this. And I am so proud of this country for stepping up. Now, seniors, we know our seniors that are already getting no tax on Social Security, they're also now going to get an enhanced deduction. So in Florida, we have nearly 5 million seniors that live here that are going to take advantage of this. And I don't know about you, but I want them keeping more of that money to invest in Florida and not sending it to Washington, because we are so focused on making sure that we're keeping that here. And you're going to hear from some great folks in a moment to tell you about their estimation on what that means when people keep their own money and what it means to the strength of our communities. And I can't wait for you to hear about that. I could sit here all day long and talk to you about all of the ways, from keeping money in your pockets, to education, to child investment accounts, to ensuring that this country remains safe and secure. All of the ways that that Working Families Tax Cut Act has delivered for this nation, and specifically for Florida. It was my great honor to support it. It is my privilege to come here to Florida to announce all of the things that are going to go into effect this weekend on July 4th as we celebrate this nation's success. We have a lot of challenges these days. We have a lot of folks that are making statements that seem to undercut what this very nation was built on. I believe a lot of that comes from a frustration because they want to see government working for them, to protect them, protecting their rights, protecting their ability to keep their own money, keeping government out of their lives. Innovation, hard work, protecting individual liberty, that is how we have gotten here today on our 250th birthday. The Working Families Tax Cut Act anchors us back down to that premise, reminds us that we are not working for government, that government is working for us. And I am so proud to be here in my home county to talk about this today as we move into our weekend of celebration, because we all need to be mindful that it is our focus on what America was meant to be, what our government was meant to be, the accountability that we should demand and expect from those of us that are in Washington and of our government. That's what our founding fathers wanted. And that's what we need to deliver today. And I am so proud to be here to do just that. And so I am now going to call up Chris Chula to say a few words.
Thanks, Senator. I'd like to thank the Senator for inviting me here to speak to you guys. I want to talk about, I'm Chris Chula. I'm president of We Culture Brands and owner of Voodoo Valrico. I own 2 restaurants. And one of the things I can really talk about is the impact of the big, beautiful bill. You probably wouldn't know it by looking at me with my hair, but I used to be an executive in the employment industry, senior executive, C-suite. Tax credits and breaks that are giving to working class families and working class individuals are the best thing you can do for the community. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, I know a lot of people work in the bar business, and a lot of those people live check to check and have financial challenges. We are putting money into the hands of people who need it and deserve it and earn it. And we put that money in their hands. It goes back into our community, directly into our community, because people who need money spend money, and they spend it locally. I'll give you an example. There are probably thousands of restaurants in Hillsborough County, and I just did some quick back of the napkin math. You give them that tax break, if the average tip out is about $200 a night, and there's 3 or 4 servers in a restaurant, and you multiply that by the average number of restaurants, that's a few $1 million that goes back into the hands of those employees of those restaurants that are working so hard to serve you, right? And they're working class people. Most of them have 2 jobs, okay? And they take that money and they spend it back in our community. They spend it at local businesses, they spend it on groceries, they spend it at other local businesses, and they do a better job for their families. So if you're a business owner or you're a landlord or something like that, one of these people is probably paying rent to you, and their rent's going to be on time. If you own a local convenience store, they're coming down to shop at your store and spend their money in your store. And that's why these things are so important. And that's why when I was asked to speak today, I was grateful to come and talk and represent our community and stand next to Senator Moody, because I think this type of legislation is so important, not just for our community, it's important to the individuals in our community that make up our community, and when we give that money back to them, they support our community, which supports all of our businesses, and just it's a cycle up. And I want the money to stay in Florida, and I want it to stay with our working families, and that's why I'm here to talk about it. And I know people firsthand and work with them every day that this bill has benefited, and my hat is off to the people who wrote this bill, who supported this bill and sponsored this bill and voted to put it through. Thank you very much.
All right, Joseph.
Phenomenal, Chris, and thank you, Senator Moody, for having us here. My background's in financial advising, and I'm not the typical advisor that says, if you have $1 million, come see me. My focus is making sure that everybody has a financial education, where they can put away $25 a month or $25 million. I like helping. I believe it changes people's financial futures and breaks generational curses of poverty and helps them leave long-lasting legacies. One of the things about the child investment bill that's, I think we're thinking too small, people say, oh, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. With the right strategy and education, you can put up to $5,000 a year into that account. If you do that for 12 years, that's $60,000. Now, it works like a traditional IRA, so since there's been no taxes put on it, they would have to pay taxes when they pull that money out. Now, they get to 18, they have $60,000 plus interest, they could already have $100,000 in that account by the time they're 18. As a minor and as a young adult, they can do a Roth conversion. What does that mean? If they take that Roth conversion and they space that out over a few years, they can avoid more taxes. And then they let that grow. That could be multiple millions of dollars for that child. See, in my household, we have 8 kids. The youngest is almost 3 weeks old tomorrow, right? And so I'm constantly looking at ways to help families keep more of their money and have an impact in community. So let's talk about the tax cuts. It's funny when we talk about taxes and getting a refund, most of the time when I sit down with families, I ask them that question. They say, yeah, I get this huge refund, or I get a refund. What did you do with it? Most of the time it goes to frivolous spending. But with the right education, we can show them how to get that tax money back into their monthly budget by just making some minor adjustments, which then allows them to put things together like an emergency fund, allows them to have intermediate savings, allows them to be on track for retirement, allows them to look at other options for college and getting their kids a secondary education, whether it be through like traditional or trade school. And that's why what she is doing with Washington, D.C., for our communities is so much more impactful than just, oh, hey, it's a tax cut, or even who it's coming from. This is an actual move in the direction that will help so many more families leave a generation where it's not financial stress, right? We've seen that too much. As things become more and more expensive, having advocates fighting on our behalf so that way we can stay in the fight and have a solid financial future. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for being here today and supporting Senator Moody.
All right, Brian.
All right. Save the best for last, right? Now, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Senator Moody, for this opportunity to come and speak to you guys from the perspective of someone who spent more than 23 years in the mortgage industry helping families buy homes. And like I said, my name is Brian Snyder. I'm a VP of mortgage lending with the Bach Group at Rate, and every day I have a front row seat to the financial realities of working families. I'm also very proud to serve as an ambassador in this great Brandon Riverview Chamber of Commerce, where I work alongside business owners and community leaders who help make Brandon Riverview such a great place to live, work, and raise a family. And one thing I've learned over the years, the problem usually isn't that people aren't working hard enough, is there's not just enough left over at the end of the month. And so that's why this bill is so important, right? This law is already helping hardworking Americans keep more of what they've earned through provisions like the tax relief on qualifying overtime and tips, the enhanced child tax credit, and a lot more. And from where I sit, those dollars really matter. They can help families qualify for a down payment, even qualify for a mortgage. and finally believe that home ownership is within reach. And when I think about what this act means, I don't think about it on a tax return. I think about the family sitting across the table from me every day, the young couple saving for their first home, that single parent working really hard with overtime, trying to create a better future for their children, or that server who's faithfully saving all those tips for a down payment, right? And those aren't statistics to me. Those are my friends, those are my neighbors, and those are my clients. And so that's why I still attend to my closings. There's nothing more rewarding for me to be sitting across the table and see those keys sliding across to that new homeowner that didn't even think that they would be able to buy a house. And so serving on the Brandon Riverview Chamber of Commerce has also shown me that strong families create strong communities. When families are financially stronger, they buy homes, they support local businesses, and they help Brandon and Riverview continue to thrive. I believe the American dream is still very much alive, and I believe that when hardworking families have the opportunity to keep more of what they earn, they're better positioned to achieve that dream. And that's good for families, that's good for Brandon and Riverview, and that's especially good for Florida. Thank you.
And the Working Families Tax Cut Act did not forget our small businesses, because we know that they are the backbone of every community. In fact, the majority of businesses are small businesses. And in Florida, because of the way we are approaching government, and I was so proud to work alongside Governor DeSantis and make sure that we were the freest, most prosperous state in the nation during a really challenging time. We are now one of the leading states in entrepreneurship. We led the nation years in a row for new business formations. Most of those are small businesses. And I was so proud to deliver predictability, consistency in terms of tax benefits for small businesses, cutting out red tape, doing away with onerous IRS regulations and requirements. This is going to go a long way to making sure that our small businesses right here thrive. I want to commend the Brandon Riverview Chamber of Commerce, who is upping, they merged, they're upping their membership. We have hundreds of members, 700 members. And with that, I want to introduce Amber, if you would like to say welcome to everyone.
Good morning. Thank you, Senator Moody. Thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you for our members attending today. On behalf of the Board of Directors and our membership, we welcome Senator Moody here and her team. Her team has been fabulous to work with. We appreciate the open dialogue between our elected officials that we believe at the Chamber that that's very important to have those conversations and to make sure that they're successful in bringing the community together, our businesses together, where we can all thrive. That is my honor to have us here at the Regent today. Thanks for hosting us for the Regent. We love this beautiful facility, and we really do thank our members here today that we're speaking, firsthand on their experiences and how the federal government does impact their businesses and their families. Thank you.
And I know Joseph is going to be setting up child investment accounts for every single one of those 8 kids. Yes, here we go. $1,000 in those accounts this weekend. All right, so thank you again for being here today. Truly my honor to see all of you. And I see we have some folks with the